Hey fellow Trek Chatters, I'm Pit Trekkie and welcome to another episode of Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. So for today's episode, what I want to discuss with all of you is one of the most exciting days in all of nerd fandom, of all types of fandoms, that occur here in the United States, but also all the way around the world. And yes, everybody, I'm talking about San Diego Comicon. It's finally about to be here. As of this recording, it is Tuesday, July 21st. So there are going to be some small previews for the beginning of it starting tomorrow. And it's going to actually run from Thursday, July 23rd through Sunday, July 26th. So, as all of you know, Star Trek has typically always got some sort of place there at the Comic-Con, so this year's no different. So even though the schedule's been up for a couple weeks now online, I figured since we're only 2 days away from the con actually starting, I thought I would talk with all my fellow Star Trek fans out there about what they can expect to hear or see from the Comic-Con, whether they go there in person or they hear things online. So what I'm going to start with first are some of the special activities that are going to be going on. And the con has a bunch of different setups and places all in these different areas or buildings. So not everything's all in one area. So you have to kind of know where you're going. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is they're going to have a recreation of the bar area from Strange New Worlds. It's called the Port Galley. That's going to be at the Paramount Plus Lodge at a place called Happy Does. This is actually going to be available for fans, and it is by reservation from what I remember, but they're hoping to have more openings. But it's supposed to be available to fans from Wednesday, July 22nd through Sunday, July 26th. So I think that'll be kind of a fun place to get pictures of, or maybe get pictures of yourself in front of it. Sounds pretty exciting to me. All right. Paramount Plus is also going to have a booth on the convention floor. And this is going to be an area where fans can actually go and play arcade-style games, including a Strange New Worlds Bridge command memory game. I'm not exactly sure what that is going to entail or look like, but it's supposed to be some sort of memory game for fans, and I'm sure it's going to be very digital and very high-tech, and fans, I'm sure, will enjoy that. So that's something else to look forward to. One of the big things that Star Trek fans are really excited about for San Diego Comic-Con is the fact that Eugene Roddenberry and the Roddenberry Foundation is actually going to be there, and they're going to be presenting the recovered original series model of the Enterprise from filming from 1965. So that's going to be very, very exciting to see a really old piece of some of the very beginnings of Star Trek history, especially since this is the 60th anniversary of Star Trek this year. That would be, if anything, for me, that would be the main reason to go, is to see that model and just see it and enjoy it and to see a little piece of history that's been on the screen for all of us. From Thursday, July 20, on Thursday, July 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there's going to be something called Star Trek: The Collector Frontier panel. And LEGO, along with Magic the Gathering, is going to be presenting what are called exclusive reveals. Now, there are rumors going around right now that LEGO is actually going to be revealing their next LEGO set past the Enterprise D from last year, where they're actually doing an original series bridge. I think that would be very exciting for all of us fans to have that in our collection, without a doubt. And also, Magic the Gathering has come out and said that they're doing some sort of Magic game based on the Star Trek characters in the Star Trek franchise. So we'll be probably seeing a whole bunch of different things being shown to the fandom at this presentation. So that's going to be very exciting. Also at the con, you're going to have something where LEGO and Magic the Gathering are going to be hosting something called Star Trek Boldly Built, and it's supposed to be some sort of photo op space where you can stand and get pictures of yourself taken, but there's a backdrop of a whole bunch of different type of Star Trek toys, Star Trek collectibles, and it's listed as the background for your next great adventure. So that's going to be very exciting. This is also going to be happening from Thursday, July 23rd through Sunday, July 26th at the Marriott Marquis. All right? The next thing that's going to be going on Friday the 24th, and this will occur on the St. Clair on G Street, you're going to have something called Star Trek Fleet Command. And this is a mobile game that's going to be presented, and it's going to hold an experience called 60 Years of Star Trek Archive Experience. Now, according to this, and this is a direct quote from one of the people who are organizing that project, It says 6 decades of Star Trek through the lens of the game. featuring official archive pieces, a holodeck VR experience, themed photo moments, exclusive swag, interactive claw machines with Star Trek prizes, and a souvenir photo station where guests can choose their faction and take home a personalized Star Trek themed card. I think that's pretty exciting. I think my favorite part of it, well, too, would be the holodeck VR experience. When I went to, I believe it was Star Trek 2019 in Las Vegas, they did have a virtual Star Trek game based in the Kelvin timeline, and we were in this simulator that actually moved you and dipped you, and it was amazing. It was an absolute blast. So maybe that's kind of what they're talking about, is something similar, and it'll be very fun and exciting for fans. All right, so that's something to look forward to. There is also going to be a main event that happens on Saturday the 25th. And it's going to start at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. So all of the times, if I've said anything so far about times, they're all Pacific time. So I got to remind myself of that because I'm 3 hours ahead here in Eastern Standard Time. So in Hall H on Saturday, July 25th at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, there is going to be a cast and crew of Strange New Worlds panel that's going to occur. So obviously we know that on July 23rd, the 4th season of Strange New Worlds is going to be coming out. So that obviously it makes sense that they're going to have a big Strange New Worlds presence here. So they're going to start with a big panel, and they're going to have 3 showrunners. They're going to have Alex Kurtzman, Akiva Goldsman, and Henry Alonzo Myers. And many of the cast are going to be there as well, including Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine, Ethan Peck, Christina Chong, Celia Rose Gooding, Melissa Navia, and Paul Wesley. So they're going to be talking about season 4, they're going to be talking about the show, and I'm sure they're going to be talking about a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes things. So it's going to be very exciting for any Strange New Worlds fans that are going to be going there, or even those who may watch it online. After that part of the presentation, then they're going to have part 2 of that main event, and it's the 60th anniversary panel. And there are actually going to be multiple actors from multiple Star Trek across the 60 years. So from the original series, it's going to be represented by George Takei. The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine are going to be represented by Michael Dorn. Deep Space Nine will also be represented by Cirroc Lofton. Star Trek Voyager and Starfleet Academy will be represented by Robert Picardo. Star Trek Enterprise will be represented by Connor Trenier. Star Trek Picard will be represented by Michelle Hurd. Star Trek Discovery will be represented by Doug Jones. Star Trek Lower Decks will be represented by Jerry O'Connell. Star Trek Strange New Worlds will be represented by Christina Chong. And another representative for Starfleet Academy, in addition to Robert Picardo, will be Karim Diane. So we got a nice little broad kind of experience here with different Star Trek shows representing the 60 years from beginning to end up to this point. So I think that's going to be very, very exciting for a lot of people. Also, on Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is very important, this is in the Balboa Theater, there's going to be an exclusive screening of the 4th season premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Valis Marineris, I guess is how it's pronounced. That's going to be followed at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time by an early screening of Episode 2 of Season 4 Star Trek Discovery, Griffin Incident. The tickets are free to these screenings, and attendees don't need to have the San Diego Comicon ID badge, but the openings are very limited and you must RSVP. As of now, if I remember correctly in my research, all of them are filled at this point, but they're hoping to open up a few more spots. Speaking of the ID for San Diego Comicon this year, for everybody, their ID is going to be represented by Star Trek this year, as it's got a Star Trek Strange New Worlds theme on the ID badge, which I think is very, very cool. So Star Trek's going to be represented with everybody, no matter what fandom that you're in. So I think Star Trek representation for this 60th anniversary of Star Trek is going to be kicking at San Diego Comicon this year. Again, those dates are Thursday, July 23rd through Sunday, July 26th of 2026. The only question I have is, it sounds like they're talking about what Strange New Worlds is going to be bringing, and right now in terms of at the moment. I'm wondering if they're going to talk at all about anything beyond Strange New Worlds or Starfleet Academy Season 2. There's not much in the pipeline right now because, well, Season 4 is about to start for Strange New Worlds. We know Starfleet Academy Season 2 will be coming out within the next year. And then we also, in the next year, have the abbreviated Season 5 of Strange New Worlds. Is there going to be talk about anything else? I know there's a lot of talk online about Star Trek United, that prequel project that would bring President Jonathan Archer into the fold a number of years after Enterprise and after the founding of the Federation. I'm really hoping that that comes true. I'd love to hear something about it. But with just how the way things are right now, I really think that that's going to be kind of put on hold, especially since that merger with Paramount and Warner Discovery has been kind of halted right now by the courts. So right now I'm not expecting a whole lot of new information, but anything's possible. We'll see. So that's it for this episode of Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. I'd like to know what you all think about any hopes, any thoughts about San Diego Comicon, or any of you going to be going. Please comment down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can follow the show, Pittsburgh Trek Chat. Obviously, go to youtube.com, type in Pittsburgh's Trek Chat in a search engine. It'll take you directly to my channel. You can follow up and watch older shows that I've been doing. I've been doing this for 9 years. You can follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. You can also follow the show on X at PGH Trek Chat. Looking forward to the next episode. Until then, may yins live long and prosper.